Hey, how you doing? My name is Jim. That's with two M's. And if you've been watching my channel at all, you know that I do some music, but then music is not my main thing. I do some pretty controversial stuff. And lately, I've been getting a lot of invalid parameter tags put on my stuff. You know, like it's not within YouTube's guidelines, quote unquote. And I've realized that invalid parameters can be anything. It's when YouTube, at their own discretion, for no rhyme or reason, decide that they don't want to publish somebody's video. And I've noticed that it's always something that's either controversial, can educate you, can inform you, can enlighten you, or can just make you think, you know. And excuse me just a minute. Loud. And there's another thing they do all the time too that I've noticed that they can always put that tag of invalid parameters on your video when you're playing some kind of a soundtrack in the background, and what'll come up is it says you didn't get somebody's permission to use this music or something like that. Yet when I first started doing videos, you know, I accepted this explanation because I'm a musician, I'm an artist, I know about copyrights and all this kind of stuff. But then I would look elsewhere on YouTube, and here would be somebody doing exactly the same thing I did. You know, they'd be like using somebody else's music to you know, present their artwork up front. And there's no problem with it. You know, they didn't get some tag that it was invalid parameters, that, you know, that you know, this kind of thing. And I realized that that YouTube just at its discretion just decides who gets published and who doesn't. And that's the idea of the process thing, where they say your video's being processed, and you know, we might be able to clear it up before we publish it. Well, basically what they're really doing is they're looking at the content of it and what's going on with it, see? And then they're making a decision. And the person making the decision is the person who's looking at your video, not the executives of YouTube, not the company itself, you know, but the people who are actually paid to look at your video are making a decision whether they're going to publish it or not for you, see? Well, lately I've been doing some really controversial stuff. You know, I've been doing, it's, as long as it's in the form of entertainment, they don't mind, you know. It doesn't matter what you present, as long as you present it in the form of the entertainment tag, then it gets by, you know. But if it gets in the form of the education tag, where you're actually trying to reach a certain amount of people who are still thinking for themselves, you know, who haven't zombified their minds yet, then all of a sudden you're going to get all these invalid parameter tags coming up. And the best stuff that I've done, you people have never seen, because they've always put this invalid parameter tag on it, see? And some of the stuff that I did get by, which really surprised me, was stuff based on this. See, which really, it kind of surprised me in a way, you know? But it's one of my main, you know, main forms of study. And I've gotten lots of naysayers, you know, in my comments about this, saying that H.P. Lovecraft invented the Necronomicon and that it's all fictional and all this kind of stuff. But there's 1,000 books like this, people, that aren't the Necronomicon, that say the same thing, that H.P. Lovecraft didn't even know about, see? And it's like you have this pat answer that you've heard, and then you just mimic that pat answer to me, and that explains everything away. So then you don't have to think for yourselves, and you don't have to make any kind of decision, and then, i.e., you don't have to listen to the video. In other words, there's no validity to this video, so I'm not going to even listen to it anymore, you know, because hey, this is a fictional book that he's reading from or whatever. Well, that's one of the invalid parameters. Okay. I have a whole series on this that actually got through, which really surprised me. But yeah, they did get through. However, excuse me, they didn't put them in the same category that they put all the other videos on this. I'm stuck way off in the corner somewhere here. I don't know how I can get my stuff on the mainstream where more people can hear it, but it's like, okay, well, this stuff is a little controversial, but this guy, you know, he's no threat or anything, so we'll let him pass his videos, but let's stick him way off in the corner here where people really have to look and seek him out, you know, that type of thing. Which in a way is good, because if you've got the interest in imagination and creativity and everything to seek me out, then you're going to realize that I'm not just a person making videos, and you're actually going to learn something that's going to benefit you in your life and everything. Now, the other invalid parameter that I'm always coming across is the time length. I'm always being told this is too long. It doesn't fit YouTube's format. Okay, well then I was surfing one night and I was doing just videos at random, just, you know, just clicking to references and references to see where they come up. And I saw one video that goes for 17 minutes. And I saw another video that goes for 22 minutes. Now that's way past this so-called time length that that YouTube puts on everything. How did they get through? You know? Why did they get through? You know, here I've got this video that's really controversial, and it's 9 minutes 58 seconds or 10 minutes 1 second, and all of a sudden they say it's too long. You know, we can't show this video. Yet here this guy comes along with a 22-minute video and he gets it on. See? So there's another thing of bending the rules there about invalid parameters. See? Now, some of the people that have influenced me to talk to you people like this, one of the main people is this person right here. I don't know how many people know who this is, but that's Mr. Lou Reed. And pretty much Lou Reed has been in the eye of controversy ever since I first started listening to him, which was about 1965, because he's got this unbelievable musical integrity, and he never compromises anything. In other words, he's had very few hits on regular radio because he would never compromise to get them on. Where everybody else who says they're so you know, rebellious and all this kind of stuff, you know, and their own man and everything, yada yada yada, you know, they've always compromised to get their hits on the radio. Well, Lou Reed has just said, well, hey man, go fuck yourself. You know, I don't need you. You know, I'm not going to let you censor my mind. And i.e., he never got his hits on the radio. And of course, some of the other people I kind of admire are this man here. Now, this man here, he really didn't get into you know, controversial stuff until almost towards his death. You know, this is the late great Johnny Cash. You know, pretty much he was pretty mainstream and, you know, well loved by everybody and popular and all this and all this kind of stuff. But then towards the end, he started, you know, when he knew he was going to die, and all his friends had died, and he was just this lonely old man living in a cabin. He started looking at his life and what he'd done and stuff, and he realized that he wanted to leave some kind of a legacy beyond his music. So he went to some of the younger musicians, one in particular, Trent Reznor, the frontman for the 9 Inch Nails, who has always been controversial, and he asked him permission to record, you know, his music, and he did an unbelievable version of one of Trent Reznor's songs called Hurt, and he owns the song now. Johnny Cash owns that song, Hurt, you know. And like I said, you know, invalid parameters, and I'm looking and it's 9:05, so just to be on the safe side, I'm going to stop this video in a few more seconds and start a new video so I don't get you know, hassled about the invalid parameters. And figure 9.5 minutes will be pretty safe. So I'll see you on the next video.